Hello there, this is Rom coming back at you with yet another car video. Too many men use money, looks, height, and even body as excuses to why they can't get women. And there's probably a few more, but those are some of the main ones. Because I was thinking about that. Because you know how I feel about money. You know how I feel about money. I say that's for a man to make. Don't be leading with your wallet. In fact, I got a sit-down video coming this week where I'm talking about that. But you get some guys, they be like up there saying, oh, I can't get all these women. I don't have any money. Okay, if you want some women, how come you ain't making money then? Or you get some guys saying, well, I don't look that good. First of all, when men are using that looks excuse, they usually focus on those square jaw supermodel type dudes, right? But that's like 1% of 1% of 1% of 1% of the male population. Most men don't look like that. And, or they'll talk about height. Well, you got to be 6'2". Okay. Or they'll talk about body. Now, even though I talk about body game and stuff, I say get your best body. And with all of those, whether you're talking about money, whether you're talking about looks, height, or whatever many men try to think it is, there's some guys who don't have those things still getting some women. Damn, she must be from Venezuela. Master Teacher BGS know what I'm talking about. Anyway, right? You be like, dudes be coming up with all these excuses. But there's only one thing you really need to get a woman. And I'll come up with that. I'll talk about that later on in the video. Let me get started. Turn all this on. Make sure this air is on. Because, it get too hot in here, the phone will cut off, and then I ain't got to do something. Go ahead, Joe. Anyway. They coming up with all these excuses and stuff, but they just excuses. They just excuses for a man really don't want to really look at himself and do what he got to do. Like, let's take the money thing. And I want to take each one of them. Let's take the money thing. There are plenty of dudes out here, broke dudes who don't have money, got like multiple women. Shit, the women be paying for them. That's what I always be talking about. Shoot, you got women paying for the dudes, handing them money. And even if they don't, even if they just working a regular job or something, they spending time with the women, they want to deal with them anyway. They basically getting women without spending money, without doing anything extra. Yeah, alright. I had to make sure. Hold on. I always got to mess with this mirror. Right? So, my thing is this. If you got some men who can get women without money, what are they doing? And now some guys will say, well, maybe they look good. But hold up. First of all, when men are talking about looks, they usually talking about some square jaw person. But you got some dudes who don't have that much money, or at least enough money that dudes think they gotta have some fancy car or something, and still getting some women, and they look average. In fact, you get some of them, they'll joke about it. They be like, oh, I'm ugly, I'm this or that. Still getting some women. Right? Or the height thing. There's all that talk. Man, I told you, I don't even pay attention. These women be online talking about, yeah, he gotta be 6'5" and all of that. Knowing some 5'9" dude tearing their ass up. And even with body game, I've been saying for a couple years now, just get your best body, because there's a woman who likes whatever body. As long as you just present your best. Some women like a big brolic dude. Some women like a big slim dude. And if you take your ass outside, you see all types of men with a woman. All types of men, they might not be a certain height, with a woman. All types of men who don't have that square jaw. And if you check their bank accounts, they probably living paycheck to paycheck just like some of these other dudes. And in fact, sometimes, let me shout out Kevin Samuels. And I've said a few times, I remember the last conversation I had with him. The last conversation I had, private conversation. He was talking about dudes who had money who still weren't getting women. But see, dudes will use all that. They'll say, well, I ain't getting these women. I ain't got no money. I ain't getting these women because I don't look like child. I ain't getting these women because I ain't 6'2". I ain't getting these women because I ain't lean and buff and all of that. Yet you get some men who got none of those things getting some women. Be having multiple baby mamas and stuff. I remember this dude I worked with. I mentioned him a few times. That dude, he couldn't dress. I can't tell from how women thought of his looks, but his ass couldn't dress. And he definitely wasn't no lean dude. 2 baby mamas. Going hard for a lesbian. Going hard. I had to like say something to him. Cause he ain't give a fuck. He ain't give a fuck. That dude didn't care. That dude went for a lesbian. That dude didn't give a fuck. He went for this woman who was married. He was like, damn, she looking good. He ain't give a fuck. And I'll get into that mindset later on. But you get some dudes, they just use that. When they saying money, like the money thing, you can always get some dude who come on here talking about, yeah, you gotta have money, you gotta have money. Okay. Now I remember when dudes were saying that at first, and I said, okay, let me start a money channel. That is still my least viewed channel. My least viewed channel. And I'd be like, well, hold up. All these dudes saying you gotta have money, but this is my least viewed channel. Seriously. Only got, and I shout out the guys who do be checking out the channel. Thank you for your support. But I'm like, hold up. If you want some money, if you think it take money, then common sense says get out here and make some money. What are you doing to make more money? If you think that's what it take, if you serious, and these dudes be serious, or just take money. Okay, so what are you doing to make money? But deep down, you really don't use it as an excuse. Use it and say, well, I'm broke, I can't get a woman. Or talking about looks. Women like all types of shit. Women like all types of shit. It depends on the woman. I've met women, like you get some dudes thinking a man gotta have a square jaw. I've met women who say they like a round face. I've met women who say they like a slim face. Upside down diamond type of face, or triangle type of face, big old forehead and shit. Women like different shit. I told you I got rejected one time because this woman said she like a man with a rougher looking face. I mean, it's like, come on now. And that height thing, come on. You know what? I've talked about height a lot. I said shit. But if you take your ass outside and really look at most men walking along with a woman, they ain't 6'2". In fact, there was one day I was specifically paying attention. I said all the dudes who were real tall were walking by themselves. Meanwhile, you got the dudes under 5'9" walking around holding a woman's hand. Come on now. And I said bodies, women like different bodies. Like I said, I've known several very attractive women who said they like a man with a little bit on them. They're going to like something different. Shit. And in fact, I've said that before in a video. Women, they can get with multiple types, just their nature. They'll have an ideal type and then an open type. The ideal type, yeah, that dude can look like supermodel of the world. But the open type is however they click with the man. But whatever the case, dudes will use whatever as an excuse and then get mad. Then get mad at you or try to say, oh, well, you coping saying that. That's like, no, motherfucker, you talking about yourself. You using that as an excuse. You don't use no excuse. You don't use no excuse. And you know what it is that the men who get women, what they doing, and what the men who ain't getting women, what they not doing. The men who get women, they just got the right attitude. I just said that mindset. Regardless of what they are, they say they're going to get it. Like, like you say, there's plenty of guys out here, they don't got no money. They on some homosexual shit. They'll find a woman. They will find a woman. And regardless of like how attractive you think you are, don't have no like well, whatabouts. No fucking whatabouts. They getting something. And I've seen some guys get some very attractive women. They ain't had much going for them. In fact, I knew this woman, knew her real well. She was married to a dude that was shorter than her. Like, if you even want to talk about that height thing. And whatever. And like I said, they like different bodies. But the men who get women, they just got the right, they just going to get theirs regardless. Regardless of how much money in their pocket. Regardless of how they look. What they'll do is just present their best and just go for it. They'll just go for it. Shoot, you got guys who, they'll call themselves ugly. They still will shoot their shot. And yeah, some women going to reject them. But what did I say before? Whatever I always said. A woman, she can reject a man off of whatever because you don't know what's going on with her. Shoot, a woman can reject a man because he look too good. She don't want to deal with him. She can reject a man because she don't like his shoes. Women will find whatever reason to reject a man. And anybody, don't come on here talking some trash about women and they doing it. That's just their nature, okay? Some shit they just gonna do, all right? They gonna like reject a man for whatever reason, accept a man for whatever reason, click with a man for whatever reason. But all a man ultimately needs is that mindset. He just gonna go get his regardless. And yeah, he gonna get some rejections, but if he's shooting his shot and he going out there, he gonna talk with him, whatever, he can still get his. In fact, there's many women, they'll deal with a guy who just got the balls just to shoot his shot. They'll deal with him. Because they'll be looking at him like, oh, well, you know what? He was short, but he still shot his shot. He ain't had that much money, but he still shot his shot. Shit, women love a confident man. A man just gonna do whatever. Because a woman, just like a woman can reject you for whatever, she can like you for whatever. Don't get caught up in thinking, wow, you don't look a certain way. Shit. I told you, some of my best relationships with women were like, as far as my looks. And then some were rejecting me, calling me handsome. I was like, what the fuck? You just go. If that woman is attractive to you, you want something, you shoot the shot. If she don't want to take it, you don't lose sleep. There's an abundance of women out here. You don't lose sleep over a woman. But you got to have that right mindset, whatever the case. Whatever the case. Because, first of all, money-wise, first of all, as a man, you need to be, like, making money to take care of yourself any motherfucking way. You need to be, like, doing what you got to do anyway. And it's not for the woman to impress her. Because, shoot, women out here got their own money. You need to do it because you want to, like, sleep in a good bed. You don't want to sleep on that air mattress. You don't want to live in a neighborhood where you got sirens all the time. You don't want to live in a place that got a bunch of, like, rats and roaches, okay? You're doing it for yourself anyway. And plus, depending on your mission, you want to do it well. If you're doing it well enough, you might get paid, depending on what your mission is. That's why you want to do it. You ain't doing it to impress the women. Because some women ain't impressed by that shit. Seriously, some women are not impressed. They got their own money. That's actually a big issue now. That's really a separate issue to talk about. These women out here making their own money and shit. Only ones who looking for a man for money are just some broke ass women. Then you got wonder in this day and age what's going on with her. And then you got some acculturated prostitutes, or as the Honorable Pimp God will call them, acceptable hoes. You don't want either one of those women any damn way. And if you're talking about your height or something, your height is your height. However you worship God, however you whatever term you want to use, God, goddess, whatever, nature, universe, infinite intelligence, whatever you want to use. Or even if you ain't even religious or something, just pure genetics. You are what you are. In fact, I saw something the other day. I saw something that said, shorter men live longer. Now, I don't know how true that is. Whatever. You are what you are. If your ass is 5'9", you 5'9". You still gonna just do your thing. Like I said, I got two sons. One's 6'3.5", one is 5'9". Those with shoes on. The 5'9" one, he just don't give a fuck. He ain't never once say he want to be taller. Never once. He just do his thing. And he actually the one get more women. He was the one at his prom, high school prom, with 6 women. They were all over his ass. And they weren't his prom date. That's another conversation. But here's the thing. You just got to do what you got to do. And as far as your looks, there's always going to be some, I don't care. And first of all, people, you try to use that term objective. They ain't know nothing objective. Anybody using that is on some like white supremacy bullshit. Seriously. Ain't nothing objective. It depends on the woman. It's subjective. Beauty really is in the eyes of the beholder. The best a man can do is be consensus, and even that's going to be where he is. You put him in a different part of the world, they probably be like, ugh. So you can't worry about it. Sure, if 100 women see you doing great if 70 of them think you're handsome. But 30 of them might not. And even the 70 that think you're handsome, shoot, you open your mouth to talk about something, you don't got something to talk about, they ain't going to deal with your ass. I was talking about that yesterday. You still got to have that personality for them. And I ain't even talking about personality, but mindset is part of that too. Shoot, and body build. And if your ass is endomorphic, there's only so slim you can get. Or if you ectomorphic, slim, there's only so big you going to get. All you can do as a man is just be your best. But the thing, no matter what you got, no matter how much money in your pocket, no matter what your physicality is, or even your personality, it's just your mindset. You trying to get a woman, you going to do what you got to do. You going to figure out your best, present your best, and then figure out which women going to be responsive to it. That's why I talk about a tribe. All a tribe is just the women who going to be receptive to you. And shoot, you get out there enough, you figure it out. You figure it out. You can look right at a woman and say, yeah, she going to be receptive. Nah, she ain't going to be receptive. Whatever. And then even some women, you might look at and say they ain't receptive. They might still want shit. Sure. You got to do what you got to do. And see, even no matter what, how much money you got, how you look, your height, your body build, you still got to talk to the women. And some women, shoot, they just want that conversation. Shoot, some women, shoot, you can talk to them, you get that personality, you click with them emotionally. They good to go with that. But see, many men, they will use all that other stuff as excuses. Nah, you don't have to use that as an excuse. Just your mindset. And really, you got a negative mindset if you use it as an excuse. Because you don't know, first of all, if you going to approach a woman, talk to her, you don't know what the fuck she really wants. Do you know her personally? You don't know what she going for. In fact, what I always say, even when you're approaching a woman on the street, she might have been like clocking you for a few months. She put herself in position where you're going to talk to her. So you don't know. You don't know. All you can do is just have some balls on you. Some gonads. Well, yeah, some balls on you. And just go and talk to her. Because, see, the men out there who going to be just bold about it, they going to say, fuck it, going to get theirs. That's why you got some dudes, they don't got no money. Average at best in looks. Definitely ain't over 6 feet. And probably might not even set foot in a gym. But they'll still get women because they just don't give a fuck. Their mind is right. And that's all. That's the most powerful thing. And indeed, when you talk about my book, Nice Guys and Players, or anything I talk about, it's just really get your mind right. Because once your mind is right, everything else will follow. Everything else will follow. Get your mind right, your ass will follow. Everything will follow. Because like I said, you don't know. You can't say that these women ain't robots out here where they just going on one thing or just one thing alone. Dudes thinking that haven't dealt with a woman. You don't know. Unless you know specifically that particular woman and what she wants and what she's looking for, you don't know. Only thing you can do is just say, you know what? She got that big old booty. I'm gonna shoot the shot. If she say no, you tell her have a nice day. Because like I said, if a woman, and I've said this several times before, if a woman reject you, you really don't know why she reject you. You don't know what's going on mentally with her. And she might have did you a favor. She might have did you a motherfucking favor. Alright? So you don't know. And there's a ton of women. There's 4 billion women in this world. And shoot, no matter what you look like, no matter what you got going on, you can get about 10. You just have to go out there and just go get them. Yeah, let me back this up. Got one of these cameras in the back. I had to look at it. So when y'all see me looking at it and shit. So anyway, but too many men use all that shit as excuses. I'm going to tell you what. And I'm going to say this, and I always say, like, if you on this channel do this, look, it's no excuses. These women out here, shit, these women out here thirsty as shit. These women are thirsty. And that's part of the thing. Like, I'm known for talking about that thing with the sex workers, what they had told me. Part of the thing is, well, how thirsty these women are. That's part of it. I haven't told the full thing because one of the things I found is easier when a man finds out. Because there's actually been a couple times when I've been straight up with some guy and they figure it out. They tell me, he's like, nah, that ain't it. Well, damn, you done figured it out. What else can I tell you? Shit. But look, these women out here thirsty. If a man wants some, he can get some. It don't matter. And yes, there's always going to be a woman that rejects him. Always. But then there's going to be a woman who accepts him. And all a man had to do is just present his best. His best. All right? Not somebody else's best. Not try to be like somebody else. But his best. And then find out which women are down for that. And if he get out here and interact and do enough, he can figure that out. All right? So, anyway, that's about all I got for today. I want y'all to think about that. It's like, no excuses. Get your mind right. These women out here, regardless of what you got, just whatever you got, work with it. If you got lemons, make lemonade with it, lemon meringue pie, ice cream, whatever. Do your best. Because the women got to fit into whatever you doing. Your mission, okay? And you know what? I'm gonna hit y'all with that tomorrow, all right? I'm gonna hit y'all with that tomorrow. I talked about that today. I'm gonna talk about that some more in a card video tomorrow, all right? Cause seriously, I be seeing some dudes out here got a lot going on, but they acting like they scared, like the women gonna bite them in a negative way. I'm like, please, these women easy. Anyway, I'll get back with y'all. Peace.